next season. But let's begin, first of all, with the latest here on Alex Scott. This is from Ben Jacobs. Chelsea are exploring the midfield market after seeing a £64 million bid for Alex Scott rejected as exclusively revealed. Another midfielder arriving is not a guarantee. Enzo Fernandez will be sold. CFC remain open to Fernandez signing a new contract, but if the club's £120 million valuation is met, an exit is possible this summer. This is big news because if Chelsea have put in an official bid for Alex Scott that was rejected, then clearly Chelsea want to sign Alex Scott. But if £64 million was rejected, then the question is, how highly does Xabi Alonso value Alex Scott? How highly do Chelsea Football Club value Alex Scott? And of course, just as important, how high is the valuation from Bournemouth? Bournemouth are the selling club. They know that they have got a very good young English talent here. And English footballers, they go for a hell of a lot of money. Just look at Liam Delap. One Premier League goal, 30 million bloody quid. Well, I saw Alex Scott score the same amount of goals in one half against Arsenal last season. So we're talking premiums here. Absolute premiums, all right? Alex Scott is a very tidy footballer. And I think if Chelsea were to bring him in and Enzo Fernandez would stay, then you can argue that in terms of the future, it could look very good for Chelsea. It's very difficult to say right now whether Andre Santos being sold will end up being good Chelsea business or bad. I think he's going to do very well at Manchester United, but it's not about that anymore. Chelsea have chosen to sell him. We have got profit on the books from the sale of Andre Santos. It's a massive chunk of money. 64 million for Alex Scott. I don't necessarily think that that is bad business offers from Chelsea. I think that's very fair. But the market that we're currently operating in is ridiculous. Let me tell you something quite quickly now about the transfer market. 100 million quid, right? 3 players in the Premier League have gone for that very figure so far this window. Sandro Tonali, Elliot Anderson, Morgan Rogers. In 2023, 3 years ago, Morgan Rogers was playing for Blackpool. Elliot Anderson wasn't an England player. He was playing for Scotland. And Sandro Tonali was banned from football. And now, all of them have sold for over 100 million quid within the Premier League. It's bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. So 60...
Going. I wanted to move on to Chelsea next because you're having a very interesting time at the moment. A bid put in for Alex Scott of just around £64 million has at this moment in time been rejected, but there's talk of you going in again for him. You took Morgan Rogers away from Arsenal for a whopping £117 million. What was your initial reaction to that? And now you're also pivoting across to one of the best young midfielders in the league in Alex Scott. How excited are you about the way Blueco are operating this summer?
I think the past 72 hours have been very, very interesting as a Chelsea fan. This week has been a bit wild. I think comparatively to the past 4 years, it is by far and away the best they've done so far. Just in terms of the names that are being linked as well. Morgan Rogers, for me, is someone I've admired for such a long time. And when Chelsea got that deal done to sign someone of his quality in a position where Chelsea really needed it, that left-hand side has been an absolute mess for 2 or 3 years now. He's come in and he's going to make a categorical difference. Like the quality that we see in Morgan Rogers week in, week out for Aston Villa is going to be rich to see in a Chelsea shirt. And also bearing in mind the fact we're going to play in a 3-4-3 by the looks of things now, you'll have him and Cole Palmer as inside forwards, which is exactly where they want to be. So I'm hoping he delivers. I'm hoping he really hits the ground running. Alex Scott, I'm less sure about, but that's purely because, again, if we're playing that 3-4-3 shape, I don't know if he's the right profile of player to sit next to Moises Caicedo. I think if you look at a 3-4-3 that's won the league for Chelsea, and then you look at a 3-4-3 that Man United were dealing with, which is the complete polar opposite under Ruben Amorim. If you're quite lightweight in that part of the pitch, you get cut through like a hot...
Chelsea supporters, there is another transfer story gathering momentum, and this one is creating plenty of discussion. Reports suggest that Alex Scott has become one of the names attracting serious attention, with fresh talk of a possible bid and growing interest from Stamford Bridge. But how genuine is the situation? Could Chelsea actually make their move? And where do negotiations stand at this stage? In today's update, we'll break down everything surrounding Alex Scott's future, explain why Chelsea admire his qualities, and look at what could happen over the coming days. Make sure you stay until the end because there are several important details that could shape this transfer. Now, let's get started. Chelsea continue working on strengthening the squad before the new campaign begins. The club's recruitment department remains focused on bringing in talented young players capable of developing into top-level stars while also contributing immediately. Alex Scott has consistently appeared on Chelsea's shortlist because of his technical quality, intelligence, and ability to operate in several midfield positions. Although nothing has been officially completed, discussions around a possible move continue to grow. Sources close to the situation suggest Chelsea have been monitoring Scott for a long period rather than reacting to recent performances alone. That long-term scouting process is one reason why many believe Chelsea could accelerate their interest if the right opportunity appears. One of Scott's biggest strengths is his versatility. He can play as an attacking midfielder, a central midfielder, or even slightly wider when required. Managers appreciate players capable of adapting to different tactical systems, and Scott has repeatedly demonstrated that flexibility. Chelsea's coaching staff reportedly value players who are comfortable receiving possession under pressure, progressing the ball quickly, and maintaining composure during difficult moments. Those qualities have made Scott an attractive option. Another factor working in his favor is his age. Chelsea have invested heavily in younger footballers over recent transfer windows, believing they can develop together into a long-term project. Scott fits that strategy perfectly. Rather than spending huge money on an experienced midfielder approaching the latter stages of his career, Chelsea may prefer someone who can improve year after year. Reports now indicate that Chelsea are carefully evaluating the financial side of any potential deal. Every major signing requires agreement between the sporting directors, coaching staff, ownership, and financial department. That means even if Chelsea admires Scott, they must still decide whether the asking price represents good value. Negotiations in modern football rarely move quickly. Many transfers involve weeks of discussions before clubs finally reach an agreement. There is also competition. Whenever a talented young midfielder becomes available, multiple clubs usually begin monitoring the situation. Chelsea know that delaying too long could encourage rivals to enter the race. That possibility could influence how aggressively they pursue negotiations. Scott himself has remained professional throughout the speculation. There have been no dramatic public comments, and his focus appears to remain on football while clubs discuss potential moves behind the scenes. Players often allow their representatives to handle transfer conversations while they concentrate on training and preparing for the season. That seems to be the case here as well.